Welcome to One ABQ and You. Conversations, culture, and community. A City of Albuquerque production with your hosts, Mayor Tim Keller and me, Leah Black. Welcome back to another edition of our podcast. Thanks for joining us. We're happy to be here. We've got a big guest today that has a sports following. They're a big name in town that a lot of people know about. They're from here. They grew up here. And before we get to that, I want to know, did you play sports growing up?
Sports ball talk. I love, so I did. I've learned not everyone did, because did you play sports?
No, I was the artsy, clumsy person.
Oh.
I did dance.
Yeah, that's cool. And you could argue is a sport. But I actually played a lot. My funny thing for me was like, I just had two neighborhood kids. So I grew up playing sports with them because like that's just what we did. So instead of like after school or summer, I was just constantly in someone's backyard like playing some sport because we had like a really vibrant neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so that's how I learned every single sport. I never played really any sports until like maybe middle school, like organized. But I had played like stickball and I played like football in the backyard. And so then I got into it. But look, hey, I love sports actually.
Yeah.
And I like that Albuquerque's like a sports town, but in like a non-professional way,
yeah.
which like is also awesome.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's high school sports or it's, things like boxing, which we're going to talk about, or MMA, like, I mean, we definitely are a sports town, but it's not in the way you think.
It's more
not
low-key.
because like, everyone is like a blank fan.
Right.
Although, I know Cowboys and Broncos and all
Oh,
that,
don't
but,
you start with that.
So, but for me, so now I still play. So I throw the football. I'm so pathetic that I just do practice because like I'm too old to play. So, I did wear
Well,
pads.
with an attitude like that, you are.
I put the pads on and I played quarterback for like 14 plays for the Gladiators 5 years ago. It was incredible. I was 40. And I don't think I could ever pull that off again.
No? They're like, it's too, my time has passed.
Yeah, my time has definitely passed. I mean, it passed for that, but like I trained for that and everything. So now I just practice. So I throw pass patterns. Like, I mean, it's the most boring thing ever unless you really, I loved being a quarterback.
Right.
And so
that was going to be my question.
Till my arm falls off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what other organized sports besides football were you on any other teams type things?
Well, most importantly, I was cut from the basketball team.
Most importantly.
Because I tripped over a chair. And shout outs to the people who were there because you remind me of this all the time. Yeah, we're doing the dribbling drills.
Yeah.
And I was like the last cut. And I just caught a chair, but it was high school. So like fell and the ball rolls all the way to the other end.
And it's like slow motion.
My career in basketball slowly rolled with that ball to the end. Yeah.
Sorry.
But that's okay. I mean, I wasn't that good anyway, obviously.
Sorry, I'm laughing, but I'm picturing this.
I did baseball. So pitching and some others. Baseball was cool.
Okay.
So baseball and football were my gigs.
Have you ever tried boxing? Have you ever put on some gloves?
I have always wanted to. And no, I have not. And because I kind of like contact sports, but that's different than combat sports.
Right.
So I'll just straight up, I respect it. I love it. I've never had the courage to do it, but I'll tell you a quick story. When I went to college, they have amateur boxing, which is really weird for college. I think it's only Army and Notre Dame. Huh. And so my roommate was big into boxing and he knocked a guy out. And I asked him just last week, I was like, hey, remember that time when you knocked out? I think his name was like the Bone Crusher or something.
Oh my gosh.
This is like a huge deal. So like, and I remember on his dorm room wall, he had a picture of him like in this crumpled body below him. And it's just him, like this is the coolest picture ever. I mean, come on, you're like 20 and it's awesome. He regrets that to this day. Yeah, just for what it's worth.
For knocking somebody out.
Well,
yeah.
I think and also I think a lot of those guys are kind of messed up. They were amateur boxers,
right.
Not like our guest is a professional, has been doing it a long time. These guys are just college kids who just decided to get in the ring. So I would say, in my own defense, in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't just get like all, hey, I should just go try boxing. Like it's serious.
It's serious.
You have to train.
Yeah.
It's a full-on sport. You don't want to mess around with it. But for those who can do it, it's awesome.
It is awesome, and it's an amazing spectator sport. If you can take it, sometimes people are like wincing, but when it's done right in the right way, we're going to talk to somebody today that is really good at it.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to talk to Josh in just a second. And we're back. I'm really excited about this next guest because my dad, rest in power, was a huge boxing fan, and it would kind of be a way I would bond with him. I'd sort of watch boxing as a little girl, and I just I have a lot of admiration for the sport. Josh Pitbull Torres is a hometown boxing hero in our city. At 26 wins, 7 losses, and 2 draws, he is currently WBC Latino champion, NM State welterweight champion. You are also a barber at Jake's 4th Street Barbershop, cutting hair in the same chair for 14 years. You have a huge following. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast. We're excited that you're here. What do you want people to know about your relationship to Albuquerque?
Well, I think most people do know, but for the ones that don't, I just want people to know that I fight for them. I don't just do it for victories inside of the ring. I do it for victories outside as well. I do it to inspire the next generation of up and coming, not just fighters, but people in general, people that may have dreams of their own and, they want to pursue it, but they're on that brink of, not pushing forward. And I just want to let them know that, hey, they can do it too.
You're a good example. You're like, I also probably was on that brink at one point in my life, and you took it the other direction. So it's amazing to look at somebody that has done the same thing, that maybe not if they don't want to be a boxer, but whatever they want to do, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I've also hit a lot of lows in my career. There's been points where I wanted to give up. People have even told me maybe you should back away and step out of the ring. And sometimes I doubted myself and I wanted to listen, but I kept pushing forward. And man, if I would have quit back then, I would have missed out on so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Thanks for being here today. You wouldn't be sitting in this chair.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your boxing journey, which is correlated to growing up here, and sort of how you found the sport and how it's kind of evolved for you now at the highest levels.
Well, it didn't start as a boxing journey. It started as a fighting journey. Growing up, my father bought me a pair of boxing gloves at a real young age. I must have been like 8 or 9 years old, and I put them on and I fell in love. I used to make my older cousins box with me. Some of my good friends box with me, and I'd give them bloody noses at all the birthday parties. And eventually they stopped wanting to do that. So I missed that rush, that adrenaline from, sparring and play fighting with my cousins and my friends. So I started getting into fights in school, which now obviously I'm not proud of, but It's something that I was seeking. I wanted that rush and that adrenaline. So I was fighting in school, and I had a good friend that was a boxer, and he kept telling me, hey, you should come box with us. And I listened to him for a long time, and I just blew him off. And finally one day I showed up, and I knew I was home. I put on that pair of gloves. I got in there. I got my butt kicked for the first time, and I said, okay, I want more.
What was the turning point that made you finally say, okay, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to go see what it's about?
I just think that void, maybe I knew something was missing. I felt like I needed more in life. I wanted more in life. So I went. I wanted to challenge myself. And the rest was history.
Right on. And so how long have you been boxing? How long has that been now?
It's been almost a 20-year journey already.
Good for you.
Yeah, doesn't feel that way. It still feels brand new to me, still fresh, but it's been 20 years, yeah.
That's amazing. I know that you have a following here in Albuquerque. What would you say to, if there was a 7-year-old kid here right now and they meet you and they're all starry-eyed, would you set them on the same path?
If they wanted to be a fighter, yeah, definitely. If they were kind of not sure what they wanted to do, I would say, hey, do whatever you're passionate about. I always tell people that it doesn't mean you have to be a fighter or a boxer or anything in sports, but whatever it is that you love, if you pursue it the way I put my passion, my heart into the sport of boxing, into my craft, I think you'll be successful.
Tell us about what that takes. Because I think a lot of people think, it's hard work, but what is that? How often are you in the gym? How often do you have to spar to get to the level that you're at?
Well, it's a lifestyle for sure. I wake up every day. I run early in the morning before the sun even comes up. I'm running in the dark. Sometimes it's really cold. And then I get back home. I get ready for work. I go to work. And then after work, I go straight home, get ready for the gym, prep for the gym, and then we train. We train for a good anywhere from an hour and a half, 2.5 hours, depending on what we do that day. And this is anywhere from 5 to 6 days a week. It depends if we have a fight coming up or not. But I mean, it's definitely a lot of work, a lot of hours. But at the end of the day, if you're passionate enough about it, it's all worth it.
That's mentally what motivates you. So you grew up in the South Valley. You went to Rio Grande High School, right?
I did.
And are you still living in the South Valley?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
I just built my own home there
about
2 years ago.
Congratulations.
I put my own gym there in my home. So yeah, it's been a blessing.
That's amazing. And then you're a family guy, right? Tell us about your family.
I am, yes. I'm married. I've been married for over 10 years to my beautiful wife, Ariana Torres. I have 2 boys, Julian and Princeton Torres, and they're 11 and 6.
Are they boxing?
Not yet, no.
And
my oldest is a football player.
Okay, I was going to say, what are your plans, or what are they showing interest in?
Football, and then my youngest is an artist. He loves to draw.
Cool.
He'd freak you out on some of his work. Yeah,
that's amazing.
My dad's an artist, so I think he got it from him.
That's great.
Yeah.
So with the football, did you ever play football growing up?
I played a little bit. I played a lot, like with friends, and I liked street football, and I played a little bit of yaffle, but it just wasn't my thing. As soon as I put on the pads and the helmet, it just was a little bit like too.
You're like, there's too much cushion
tunnel vision.
here.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. But I mean, I've always enjoyed the sport, so it's cool that my son not just likes it, but likes something other than boxing, something that I'm not, really into. So it wasn't pushed on him.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool.
It is cool because a lot of times, in my experience of friends, they are into something and they try to push it on their kid, and sometimes they get resentful. They're like, maybe I don't want to do what you want to do, So it's good that you kind of let them find their own path.
Yeah.
Tell us what you would like to see happening in Albuquerque as far as cultivating not just boxing, but different things, different types of sports for youth or people that have maybe trouble at home or somewhere to go that's a safe place that would be amazing for the communities.
Yeah, I would like to see just maybe more opportunities, more programs, things that are a lot more affordable. We were talking earlier about the big renovation they're doing at Jack Candelaria. That was always a good place for people to go who couldn't always afford these, more expensive gyms and things like that. So I think just opening doors like that is going to be huge for the city. I mean, anything that we can do to keep them busy. My mom always said that idle hands are the devil's playgrounds, and I believe that's true. If we could keep the kids and the youth busy, I think we can keep them out of trouble.
Absolutely. I mean, you had an outlet, which is great, but not everybody does.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's a good, we should tell folks, because it's not, they might not see this on video, they might just be listening to it, but tell us a little bit about this gym. So, and I know I'm going to hold up the brochure because I gave him, check it out. This is the renovations for Jack Candelaria Community Center, which is in South San Jose. And look at that picture right there.
You're in the flyer.
That's pretty cool. I made the cut.
Yep. And we're building a sort of championship ring there, renovating the whole thing. But we're excited to celebrate that down the road. But tell us about what this gym, kind of how it's played out in terms of both, either you using it, but also in terms of the boxing community. Because I think a lot of people don't realize that this even exists. I mean, whether they like boxing or not.
Yeah, it really is. It is a hidden gem. And I mean, I know that it's saved a lot of lives. I mean, I didn't really necessarily need boxing. I had a great life out of the sport. Both my parents were in my lives, and I didn't, go a day without anything that I needed. So I didn't need it, but I know that there are a lot of kids that did. And I know that it saved a lot of people's lives and gave them something to want to do and something to purpose towards.
So when you walked in there, what was it like to you? Did somebody kind of come up to you and, say, ask your story, or did you sign up and go with a friend, or how'd you discover it?
When I walked in the doors, like I said earlier, I felt at home. I knew that there was something about it that just felt right. And just seeing all the history on the walls, the pictures, it made me think to myself, maybe I could be up on that wall someday. And sure enough, I don't know what it looks like now after the renovations, but if you would have walked in a couple months ago, one of the first posters, one of the first banners you see was one of mine. So, I mean, it just goes to show that if you work hard and push, you can do that too.
Do you have big fights
I love it.
Coming in the nearby future? Tell us what's coming up.
I mean, I'm always, trying to find big fights in the future. Right now, we're working on some with Top Year Promotions that we'll be putting on hopefully in February. We're still working on a date and a venue, but we're working towards that. But I'm always hungry and looking for the next opportunity. I also have an amateur club that I train and bring up. I have a bare knuckle fighter, Josh Moreno, who is up and coming in that brand new sport, which is, quickly growing. So when I'm not fighting and training for myself, I'm also training other people. So I'm staying busy.
You are very busy.
Yeah, definitely.
So in thinking ahead, of you having a match or having a boxing, I'm not saying the right term. A match, is it?
Fight.
A fight.
We'll
okay.
call it a fight.
Just a fight. Call it what it is. And then thinking about you training other people too, that could be something that also takes your time as far as you promoting somebody. So is there somewhere online that people can get in touch with you if they want to contribute to this cause, or they have a venue, or they have fighters that they want to connect you with?
I mean, the best way to reach out to me is probably on social media, on Facebook or Instagram. My Instagram is @Pitbull. So that's usually the easiest, quickest way to reach me. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
So tell us, how'd you get the name Pitbull?
Oh yeah, great question.
Yeah. So when I started boxing with my best friend, his dad trained us, Richard Maribel. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he's the one that got me into the sport, and he was my coach. And a few months into my training, he just said, "Hey, I think we're gonna call you Pitbull." And at the time, it didn't really stick. At the time, I kind of didn't like it. I was like, okay, whatever. And over the years, it's just grown. It became, a part of who I am. Most people, or a lot of people, know me by Pitbull, and they don't even know my first name. So it's stuck, and it's kind of cool.
It is cool. You are definitely a hometown hero. We are so happy to have you on the show, and we're excited to see about the future. I think you can probably talk to somebody about still keeping a picture on the wall.
Oh yeah, so the gym, it's funny, we've been talking about this because, I had, this is one of the few projects that, like, when I visited that gym, at first I didn't know it existed. I was always into boxing, like, as a kid.
Where is this gym? For those that don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right off of Broadway and San Jose Street.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I never boxed, but like I was a fan, basically, is the short story. But of course, like a lot of people my age, we grew up, in the heyday of Tapia and Romero. And so then 20 years later or whatever, I show up at this community center. So it's a city community center. Let's just be clear about what this is.
Yeah.
We've all seen them. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Little gym, some computers and some kids, and then all of a sudden there's all these boxing rings. And there's all these posters from all the legends going back, like ones that, I should know, but are famous. I just wasn't alive back then. But there's all sorts of champs that go back there. And current ones too that people just don't know about because it's not quite Tapia level in terms of awareness, but equally, is impressive champions. And so there are posters on the wall, yours is on the wall. And, so I see all this and I'm just like, man, this is literally an Albuquerque treasure. And also a living museum also. And, behind each one of those posters too is a boxer like yourself, but it's typically somebody from Albuquerque or from New Mexico. They found their way there, and that was their gateway to professional boxing. That's where they learned the skills, and there's some old timers who still kind of train there. And so this place, it's out of a movie. You pick your boxing movie about where the boxer started.
Right.
It's East San Jose. It's right here in Albuquerque. So it's an incredible place. And I know even a lot of the MMA guys, they might be in MMA now, but they all started there because it's an amateur community run program that's free.
It's amazing.
So it's a super special place. And so I said, one of the commitments I made, in part to myself, but also the community center, I was like, you know what, we got to fix this place up because it's falling down.
Yeah.
And,
structurally, there's some stuff going on. Yeah.
But we're just getting new equipment, and new floors are really important for boxers, for traction, but also for cleaning them. And there's all sorts of reasons why you need good floors. And then we're adding another ring. That was another request that they had. Cool. And then a spectator area so you can watch one of the fights.
Good. I was going to say, what about those?
Especially for a family. Yeah, because it's
your support system.
Yeah. And so that's all going to be in place. It's all funded. We're going to break ground in December. And hopefully it should be done, about a year to 18 months. And it'll be back open for the kids again.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it's long overdue, but better late than never. And I think it's going to be, a great thing for the city and for the youth.
Just like you, great thing for the city and the youth.
Thank you very much.
True.
Thank you.
And we kept the posters, but they're also even the posters are disintegrating and
some of
the ones
them,
from the 70s. So the theory is we're gonna have pictures of the posters. So they'll still be up, but it'll be a photograph, so we can always replace them. And so and it's gonna have a museum in the lobby that talks about the history, a timeline. Museum's a strong word, but so it's gonna really pay respect, I think, to what that gym's done and the people who've been through it. We're hoping to get some input as we get closer from the boxing community, just exactly what they want or how the look should be. Because I remember the first designs I got to, it looked like a hotel lobby for the Hyatt place. Because it's a community room. That's what they're doing.
Right.
I was like, hold on a second.
This is not.
This is a boxing gym. So maybe we should get rid of some of the decorative lighting.
Right.
And, the color scheme is weird. So.
Still has to have a little ruggedness to it.
Yes, exactly.
Trying to keep that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's hard to have a new building and keep it rugged.
And keep it authentic. Yeah.
So.
Well, we really appreciate you being on the show today. We appreciate everything you're doing in the community, staying true to your South Valley roots. Congratulations on your home and your family, and we wish you the best of luck.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you, guys.
You got it.
Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll see you on the next one.
Thank you for listening, Albuquerque. And remember, it takes all of us to fulfill the promise of the city that we all call home. We hope to see you again next time on One ABQ and You.
Be sure and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us at #OneABQandYou. If you'd like to share your own ABQ observations, experiences, or topic suggestions, reach out to us. You've been listening to One ABQ and You.